I'm now joined by Adam Foley, Senior Director of Digital Transformation, the wonderful company, who is driving the AI and automation charter of the company. Over the course of this session, we'll be talking about how they've been navigating the journey and how Adam envisions the future of this constantly evolving landscape. Great to have you with us today, Adam.
Thanks for having me.
So let me dive into the questions. And you've been in the forefront of automation, and organizations like Wonderful Company have been consistently incorporating new technologies into automation or Zinnov. It started with RPA, we went into document processing, process intelligence, and now more recently, generative AI. How has this transformation journey unfolded at the Wonderful Company over the few years?
Yeah, so our journey of widening and advancing our toolkit has been one focused on effectiveness, advocacy, and honestly, patience. We've introduced a number of technologies, or if we had introduced a number of technologies kind of simultaneously with a lot of vendors, we could have taken that approach. But since the very beginning, we've been emphasized on the effective use of resources and technology, aiming to build the minimum viable toolkit necessary to keep delivering meaningful value and have a healthy pipeline of opportunities, but without drowning in requests. So if we introduced too many tools too quickly or advocated too hard across the enterprise, we would have ended up with a number of unfulfilled promises to our users. So frankly, we started very small. We introduced one technology around RPA, started the proof of concept, then a small pipeline, then scaled our developers and support resources, larger pipeline, larger. And only until that pipeline started to slow did we really look to introduce the next technology. And then once again, started small with that technology and incrementally expanded our reach. While we've started slowly, we've ultimately built an incredibly resilient, mature, and sustainable program that really wouldn't have been possible if we rushed ahead too quickly. So now we're fortunately in the position that there's kind of a stable core of opportunities and offerings we have. And now we're able to position ourselves deeper into the generative AI space through expansions and capabilities of our IT service Copilot, expanding into new areas like HR, and just general user support for high volume shared services. So users now can have 24 access to resolution of shared services questions. We're also exploring an assortment of emerging niche vendors in the space that are unable to fill the opportunities we're seeing with our primary generative AI partners. So in some ways, generative AI is being approached just like any of the other tools in our toolkit, with a clear objective head focused on a steady ramp up of capabilities and sitting around a core partner and then building kind of filling those gaps along the way. So in some ways, yes, it is a new technology, but the approach is still kind of the same. There's a lot of seemingly pressure to go faster in the generative AI space. And I feel a desire to still stay the course of a pretty measured approach that we can certainly talk about.
It's very, very interesting. So you're taking a very a methodical approach, test a new technology, ensure it's working, it's stable, it's adding value to the business, and then move on to prove the next technology. And so you've been building on your foundational technology over a period of time, and GenAI just add on to the foundation. And the approach seemed like very similar on how you're approached any other technology. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And what are some of the use cases which GenAI you're able to see current benefits, and how do you see it evolving over the next 2 to 3 years? If you talk to customers, there are a lot of focus around productivity improvement. There are certain customers talking about customer experience or employee experience, but others talking about, hey, how do I now create new revenue stream for the company? We hear all three, but at Wonderful Company, and you have a very diverse set of mid-market companies. You are a large company, but you're a portfolio of mid-market companies. And you have a view in terms of what does it mean for different businesses. It'd be great to hear how you see that kind of play out in use cases.
Yeah, I think we're still very much in the exploring phase, right? We still have a number of pilots and proof of concepts in a variety of different areas to see which ones pan out. We certainly know that there's major areas to pursue, but also we're very much an organization that likes to feel it and test it and try it. So, especially with this technology, how it's evolving, it's like, while I said generative AI, our approach is similar to other technologies, it also is a unique technology in that it's not fully proven itself out, but has all this pent up potential. And the pace of change is just so fast. Most of the automation toolkit has found its way into that toolkit due to being a traditionally developed product from well-established vendors that you could read a report on or see demos and display booths at conferences. But with the pace of generative AI, it's advancing and iterating so fast. It's hard to follow some of the previous path to adoption where you'd really do a design and you'd center on finding that opportunity and you'd explore it and you grow it. It's really this new space where you really have to test things out and hear it and feel it for yourself. There's just a lot more risk at play in the technology. It's both simultaneously a bubble and likely to be poised to be one of the most disruptive technologies in the last decade. So it's kind of this technology you have to view as both being cautious and ambitious and risk balanced. And so we're still in this phase of really prototyping and seeing where the opportunity is and not rushing too fast. We've done pilots and exploratory work with a number of our teams, including our creative teams, for generating copy and marketing materials and visuals. But work still needs to be done to check this output. And as always, legal guidance needs to be taken very seriously given all that's moving on in this technology. So at this stage, I do find the technology to be very powerful at prototyping, drafting, editing, coming with fresh ideas, getting you started. But, it still needs to be supervised and executed from experienced practitioners with whatever use case is being employed, right? A person who knows that function, that process, in order to truly make the output tailored and uniquely reflect the individuality and messaging of individual organizations. So, if 8 different water brands start using the same tools and the same prompts, they'll eventually start to lose that essence that makes it unique and has a calling and has a loyal set of followers and brand loyalty. One day that might not be necessary, but for now, I think it'd be a risk for organizations to uproot, their entire branding and processes and blindly let AI take the wheel. I think we've seen a number of use cases where people have moved really quickly and it had bad results. So I think there's still caution. Steady exploration, incremental use cases for most organizations, I think will win the day. Big bold bets, may pan out for some organizations that'll leave a lot of others feeling like maybe they should have been more ambitious or faster or more risk tolerant. But I think for most, a measured response is going to win in the long run, given kind of all the still social, political, financial, technical hurdles that this technology is still overcoming. So I think if I flash forward a number of years, I think there's gonna be a number of use cases that prop up how this company embraced generative AI and it transformed everything into this huge monstrous company. But I think it will, a number of companies that didn't take that path will be in a better position for having not taken such a risk in the rear view mirror of how I think this will play out.
Got it. So it's interesting that you are not having any preconceived notion on, okay, here is the use case, here is the kind of benefit I would get or a productivity improvement I would get, but really running more pilots within the business to figure out what the value could be. Value could be productivity, value could be new revenue stream, but really contextualizing to the individual business without any preconceived notions.
Yeah, and I think we have some ideas in some areas that certainly we've polled our partners and read reports to know we're not shooting randomly. We're picking specific areas, but I think it is kind of this approach of still feeling it out, right? It's like, can I really anchor in and say, OpenAI is going to be the future? It's like, well, I don't know, because there was a period of time where we were all using Netscape to browse the internet, right? Or all these different tools that have fallen to the wayside. So we don't really know who's going to win at this stage, and it's so early. So I don't want to put all my eggs in one vendor's basket when that path could change, right? And so there's some areas that we're certainly targeted towards. And I think another area with this technology is we're really focused on creating a culture that embraces it and educating individuals, right? If we do view this tool set as kind of the next internet or the next productivity suite, it can't be centrally managed. Like our team, our IT or our digital transformation team can't own everything. It would be like when Excel came out or Internet Explorer and say, oh, well, IT needs to own everything that goes through that. So a lot of it is we've been spending a lot of time with our user groups and our businesses, teaching them the terminology, demonstrating how the tool works, shepherding them along the way, and letting them chart a bit of their path. We're still there to support and to guide and give them advice. but also there's a lot of education and enablement. If this is something that everybody is going to use at some point in the next 5-10 years, we need to get the users along that journey as well, starting with us. And it's also similar to how we've approached automation as well.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So stepping back, and if you think about how intelligent and automation evolved, like you said, it evolved incrementally. But if a company now you have a good suite of technology within intelligent automation. If a company is thinking about their strategy, what should be the primary consideration they should think about when they define the strategy? They're defining the implementation roadmap. What are the kind of principles they should think about as they
Yeah,
get?
yeah, I think to align, automation with your business goals and strategy, like there's a few things that come to my mind. Number one, speaking to your users and your teams, kind of like I was saying with the generative AI, right? These users, these businesses, the operation folks, the people on the ground know better than you what they can help with, what these technologies can help with. So your role is you present them with the ideas and the things you've heard, the use cases you've heard in other businesses or other industries. You educate them on the technology, you demo it for them, you get them to see it and have those light bulb moments. But they really know the best. So if you want to go moderately fast, assuming that's an objective, which I think it should be, you need to listen to them and trust them. So a lot of it is coming up with suggestions and giving them ideas, but also you have to, I think some users and some businesses, don't feel like they can be inspired to come up with technology ideas because they're like, well, we're not technology. We don't understand it. But if you give them that support and trust them that they can come up with things, that's really where I think we found a lot of that alignment. It happens a lot more naturally and organically because they know the strategy. I have to just teach them kind of the technology and how it works. I think number two, that comes to mind is picking a team leader that's both balanced technically and functionally. It's really hard to find both, but you can't go 100% IT or engineering with an automation team lead or 100% business-led team leader. They need to be able to strategize and dream and vision, but also execute and improve. They're out there. You need to be patient to get the right fit, which we have in our organization, and it's really made all the difference. It's really, really difficult to balance having that long-term vision, but also keeping an eye on progress and implementation. And I think the third, it ties somewhat into the first, is regular and effective communication. And the best way to expand a program, at least from what we've seen, is through delivery and through word of mouth. You show use cases, you deliver wins, people talk, person A talks to person B in department C, and suddenly, they start teaching them how much time they've had freed up to focus on other things and how they're advancing their efforts and value creation. So spread your messaging far and wide, and be transparent about the learnings. It creates that positive feedback loop, and that, showing that honesty about the program and working alongside your users to go on really, really well with us. So it's like, when we first started off, we had a few stumbles, and we thanked the users for participating and helping us learn with it. And, getting them involved and know that this thing is being built right now, it helps. It really helps them know that you're building this with them and not just coming to them with a finished product. And they, if you come to them with this saying this is a finished product, their expectations are here. But if you let them know this is a new set of tools, we're working on it, these are our use cases, you bring them along with it, they're more participative in it and less of that one directional. You give an idea to IT does it, comes back in 6 months, because these automations, they need that back and forth honesty and communication line. Because you can't just go, give me all the requirements, I go build it, here it is, we're good. It's a whole different method of development.
Got it. I think I like your point that educating the users on what is possible and getting them along. I think that's the thing. It's not a CIO organization sitting and defining and strategy for automation, and the business not seeing any value or not bought into it. And also
Right.
Communication and continue to communicate the value and what you're driving. It also means change management. Those becomes super critical. So how do you think about ROI? Like we talked about business getting involved. I'm pretty sure the business is asking for, hey, what do I get? Like, do I get cost saving? Do I get productivity? Like, how do you answer those questions?
Yeah, I think we've always sold it as a productivity aspect, right? We're here to increase productivity, to increase value. we've steered we strive to steer fairly away from the cost aspect of things, because look, at the end of the day, these businesses have more work than can ever be done. And so it's really about value creation. At first, our goal was very focused on hours saved and an implied ROI stemming from the hours in versus the hours out. But over time, we've migrated to a more holistic view of the program. We've blown well past what we would consider a break-even point, kind of in a really good pace. We're over 80,000 hours annually automated through these technologies and continue to receive positive feedback from stakeholders. So now, rather than spending cycles, getting to the nth degree, that numbers and that value metric, we understand from the users that this is beneficial, that when they come up with an idea and we execute upon it, overall, it's very, very positive. So rather than spend cycles trying to keep proving those numbers, we focus on putting those hours towards more cycles and more development, rather than quantifying that scorecard to the nth degree. It's not to say we don't have metrics and we don't keep track, but it's not the focus, right? And as far as the cost equation, of the ROI space, we try to keep a balance of long-term beneficial partners, but also see competition along the way. As this technology becomes more integrated in operations, vendors often look to leverage this. There's this dependency that evolves, and so having a trusted partner, isn't going to kind of exploit that, really helps make something more productive over the long term from a value and ROI perspective.
Oh, got it. And also, to deliver such ROI, you need a very strong, like you said, partner ecosystem, and both ISVs as well as system integrators. Mm-hmm. How do you think about large providers, medium-sized companies? How do you build out your partner network around your strategy?
Yeah, I think from a size perspective, it has to be an organization that's kind of aligned in size to yours, right? You want that level of service that matches your service expectations and your size of an organization. And, it sounds a bit cheesy, but really cultural and goal alignment's really critical. We have to view the challenges facing the business, the technologies, our long-term objectives in the same way. Our organization isn't a quarter-to-quarter mindset organization. We're a long-term focused organization. So partners really focused on aggressive short-term targets and maximizing billable hours or licenses, as you see in my opinion, some of the larger organizations that are publicly traded that have kind of that pressure. It's a bit of a warning flag for me. Or if an organization views these technologies as rosy, it's all upside. There's no risks. There's no people concerns. If they can't see the other side of the coin, it's like, I know you're just trying to paint this perfect picture. I need that honesty. If you have to know the risks and see them as well and be open about them. Otherwise, how can I kind of trust your objectivity? Because I see the risks. You hopefully you better see them and be able to vocalize them as well.
Sure. So it's a relationship you're building for longer term, right? And they understand what your goals are. You understand what the goals are, and then you're able to work together to jointly make both of you successful. And that's right.
So cost is surely important. It's always going to be important, but unless you have that effective partnership without alignment, how far could you really go as a team?
Got it. So we covered in terms of your how you think about deploying technology, how you think about defining the strategy, what's your ROI model, and how do you choose the partners. And if you have to revisit some of the things you have done, you're learning, are there things you would do different?
Yeah. Look, if I could go back and do it all again, I suppose, we would have scaled up a little faster, knowing what we know now. But we, of course, couldn't have known what we know now then. So it's like, I think I still would recommend, the pace that we kind of win at. I think if it was a larger organization that, had a more unlimited budget, maybe you go a little bit faster. But, I think our approach has been strong. I think we remained really open to changes and adjustments along the way, which I think were meaningful. We're very open to pivot and, admit when something's wrong or technology is working and move forward. The journey is not just a technological journey. It involves all parts of the organization and education and cultural change and all these aspects. So you can't do it all in a bubble, and you have to be willing to adapt along the way. So, it's hard to keep all these things in balance. But so would I do anything differently? I don't think so. I mean, certainly we learned things along the way, but we couldn't have learned it without actually doing it, right? of course, healthy partnerships are really, really beneficial in having that trust. But there's not much I would really change at this point. Maybe not purchase a certain technology or not partner with a vendor in the beginning, but I think it's all part of the learning process. So as long as you view those lessons as a learning opportunity, you just keep moving forward.
Got it. So your approach in terms of thinking of that as a learning opportunity, and almost like learning by doing,
Right.
Deploying technology and learning by doing, and you don't know how it is. So be agile, pivot when needed, change partner if required, but be the idea of change, embrace the idea of change, and keep
absolutely.
moving. Great. I mean, so Adam, it seemed like it's worked out very well for you till now. And thanks a lot for joining us in this conversation. It's great to hear practical, best practices on how you have made intelligent automation work in your organization. And also your strategy seemed like it would adopt any new things come in. If new things come in after generative AI, you'll be able to adopt it, right? And makes a lot of sense instead of just one, like a waterfall-based, strategy, and then define a strategy and execute it. Keeping it agile, I think it makes sense because technology innovation is so rapid right now.
Yeah, in 2 years, there's going to be something new and we'll be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for joining us at the Automation Exotic conference. Great to have you again.
Thank you.